Hello and welcome to Music Industry Wednesday. I hope you had a great week, and I know that for a lot of you, this week is already over because a lot of people in Europe have tomorrow off and Friday off. So it's going to be a long weekend for a lot of people in mostly Catholic countries. Hello, Vanessa. How are you doing? Today I welcome you to the Music Industry Wednesday. And a topic that I picked up today, because I was on Reddit on the music industry forum. I think it's called Our Music Industry, and I was amazed how many people are asking questions there, and I kind of like tried to answer some questions there as well. But then I came to think that in essence people always have the same questions. And so I want to go through some of these questions that musicians always have regarding labels with you today. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask that too. And one of the central questions that came up, I think more than anything else, is why do I need a label, or what do I need a label for? And the second one that was really interesting is what do I do when a label approaches me? You know, because a lot of people are baffled. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to act or do anything like that. So I'm going to tell you, you know, why you would need one or you wouldn't need one, whatever. It's, you know, how arguments for and against. And then, of course, the question, what do I do when a label approaches me? And of course, I will take audience questions for everything. So you're welcome. If you're on Reddit, please upvote this stream, because I already got so many downvotes just by starting the stream, because there's a lot of people that don't like me for some reason. I don't know why. Hey, Megan. Hey, Lottie. I'm so grateful for you coming. Lottie says, I'm all kinds of melted. England hot is not the same as Spain hot. I think I need a holiday. That holiday's coming up, Lottie. Dude, what are you talking about? Lottie, I bought this shirt just for you because you have one. You have the manager shirt. And I figured, you know, I cannot, you know, be back. So I got this one for me as well. By the way, if you count Zero Records staff, check the staff channel where you can order this merch that has your function and everything on it. It's actually a pretty good shirt. It's not so bad. I got it today, so I'm already showing it off. And Vani says she melted today. That's how I feel. Yeah, a lot of people feel melted. Top live stream. Yeah. So a lot of people feel melted already. I know it's hot. It's hot. Okay. So you come in because it's a hot day and you want to talk to me about the music industry. You're some kind of masochist, you know. I have to say it. I did swim today though. I did go into the pool. I did swim. It was 24 degrees. I did swim for at least an hour. It was actually pretty good. All right. So, you know, somebody put me on the point that I should make these things into a podcast, and upon further investigating, I probably will. So I'm starting to label each one of these streams with a dedicated topic. You know, like Music Industry Wednesday, why would I need a label? Or, you know, Music Industry Monday, Spotify's new crappy self-advice portal, etc. And then I plan to take all these things and distribute them as a podcast. Put up a podcast website so that you can listen to this wonderful stuff as a podcast. And my question to you would only be one. If you're listening to podcasts, which software are you using, and which like service are you using to listen to podcasts? Because I'm new to podcasting. I don't know a lot about it. And I was thinking, where should I focus on? You know, I mean, we can distribute it anywhere, but the question is, what are you guys using, or what would you ask me to do for you? Thank you so much for taking my energy, Getando, and for the support there with the cheering. So hold on, let me pull up these questions. I'm gonna pull them up in a way that you can't see them, but it doesn't matter for you because I'm going to read out the question and then we're going to talk about it. And from the questions, I kind of like want to make my my arguments, and the reason why I want to do that is because there's not so many people in this subreddit. It only has about 10K members, but it talks a lot about the music industry, and these are people that generally have been approached by a label. Avigo, Spotify. No, the podcast will be available on Spotify as well. I've thought about it, Vanessa, seriously. But I decided, since you're not getting paid for podcasts anyway, and I want to distribute it to as many people as possible, and I don't really have any kind of monetary interest for this podcast. Quite to the contrary. If I get some people engaged in the community, if I get some people on the Discord server, or I find some new artists, that's worth a lot more than. I'm not looking to get paid for the podcast itself, if you know what I mean. That's not necessarily my business case here. Okay. So the first question that I have here. Okay, let's go from the top. Is NFTs. A lot of people are putting a lot of hopes in NFTs. If you don't know what that is that kind of like cryptocurrency property where you can buy like a little package of data, and then people say you can own a song, or you can have a song, etc. And I just briefly want to say that cryptocurrency is currently crashing very strongly in value. It has lost over 60% since the beginning of this year. It's lost over 25% over the last 2 days. And NFTs are, of course, bound to these currencies. So if you're selling music, or if you're selling any kind of artwork, and then something happens that's outside the range of your control, and you lose 70% of your value, that's usually not a really good system for you, you know. So that is difficult. Plus, NFTs aren't really ready to store music on the blockchain, because storing music on the blockchain is really, really expensive. I'm talking about a few $100s per song at the very, 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 very least. So I don't see that becoming anything. It's mostly used by rich people that kind of like exploit some impressionable people to kind of like sucker them into paying a lot of money for very little. So the music industry is going to change, absolutely. But I don't think NFT and cryptocurrency are going to have anything to do with that. It's just not the right thing, technically. Then I had a guy who is offering here an app for artists, and he wants to take 40% of the revenue. So he will build you an app for you as an artist, and his idea is that he would then take 40% of all the revenue that you make. Of course, so I wrote him back. I don't know if I wrote him back. I had an answer, and sometimes I cancel it, but I'm going to say it here. Taking 40% from an artist for an app that costs $150 to $500 to make, you know, probably not your best business case. So you know, I don't know if I would go with that. Okay. Then there was a question: can artists or bands speak out about others on their label? That was kind of like an NDA question, and the answer is generally no. Speaking out, what they mean is to kind of like give the dirty lowdown in public and say, you know, this band got screwed out of this and they got screwed out of that. And all of these things are under an NDA, and everybody... And that's the next thing. Vanessa says 40% from zero. That's the next thing. If the artist is small, then you're gonna be making apps for free. And if the artist is very big, it's by far too much, you know. So it will be a lot better if you say, you know, it's like $9.90 a month or something, and then maybe somebody would do it. But people generally don't really have an idea how much artists make. And can artists and bands speak about other people? They should not. they usually all sign an agreement that says that they're not going to make anything public that has to do with the inner dealings of the label or their band. Just imagine if you had a band and then other people started talking about your contract with the label and the problems that you have inside of your band. You probably wouldn't want to have that either. You probably would want to say something. If it's something about your band, you probably want to say it yourself. You don't necessarily want others to publicly comment. And if they're not doing it publicly, they can always come to you. People talk inside of the label all of the time, and they say that they share all of their frustrations with each other, and they exchange views and many things, But it's kind of like going to the press and letting other people know through public channels. I don't think much about it. Then of course it's always some hold on, I gotta show. Yeah, everything live. Everything live. And then start the questions, and it's kind of a whole bunch of them. Label meeting tomorrow. I have some notes that I want to discuss. What are important questions that I should ask? And here people generally tend to give a little bit of ill advice. And now I'm coming back to the actual topic of this stream today. What would I need a label? What would I need a label for? What am I going to talk to them about when I talk to them for the first time? So before you talk to a label, you should probably be clear on what it is that you want from them. I know that sounds difficult for most people because most people expect the label to kind of like make a rundown of what they're going to do for the artist. But number one, it's going to be a marketing speech. Number two, it might not happen. And number three, they will not commit to whatever they say to you in writing. Nobody will. So whatever they're telling you is largely irrelevant because it's not going to be in the contract. Plus, you're not going to get somebody from a label to have a meeting with you as an independent artist and kind of like explain to you the entire business model of the label over the next 4 hours and what it is that they do. Nobody will take the burden off your shoulders to actually educate yourself and learn about what it is that a label does. If you don't know what a label does, don't sign to one. That is advice number one. You would be buying something that you have no idea of, and I do mean buying because you're going to pay them. So why would you buy something that you don't even know if you need it or not? Now, I have some artists that did it on faith. They said, you're a good guy, you're going to make more of me. And it happened, and they are happy. And so you could just put your faith in them. That's always possible. And the second thing I wanted to say about this is that people always say, have them explain everything they do. Have them explain, how are you going to help me? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey of opening a label and how it was for me when I was running it. So in the beginning, I had a lot of Zoom calls with artists who would sit there literally with pen and paper and dozens of questions and would ask me, how can you do that for me? How can you do that for me? How can you do that for me? And they would go on, and I would essentially answer all of their questions over 3 to 4 hours, and they still would not want to talk to us again. That was in the very beginning. Until I found out that a lot of these people that are asking these questions that are extremely general, usually people have no clue what's going on and they're just taking information. So they're really just there for you to give them some kind of like a free music industry course. And they're going to write it down and use it as their knowledge. It's legitimate. But more often than not, what will happen to you is what I'm doing now. And this is when somebody says to me, what can you do for me, etc. How does that work? I do answer within reason in a few sentences, but mostly what I say is, just to make it clear, we are having this call entirely for us to find out if we want to invite you and give you an offer. This is not necessarily the format where we instruct you on how a label works. This is the format where we find out if we want to move this process forward with you. And then once this process moves forward, we'll be happy to answer your questions. And then people are many times a little bit taken aback of that. But think of it. We get 30,000 demos every year. We review 6,000 of them. And we run about 100 to 200 Zoom calls every, I would say 100. Zoom calls every year, and every Zoom call is about 2 to 3 hours. It usually takes quite a while to get to know the artist, etc. So that's 200, 300, 400 hours that we have, and if we go about this the wrong way, then this will be a multiple of it. And then we would have to literally hire somebody who does nothing else but give people an entry. And then we find out they are not what we're looking for. And then all this time that we spent on them, we have essentially lost. So first, we are checking if you are what we need. And yes, some people are disappointed. And they're like, yeah, but I want to, it's all about me. And some artists are like, no, this is about, if I am willing to give you my rights, etc. And I said, no, it's not. And sometimes people are disappointed. And I say, and they say, why? Because it's me giving away my rights. And I said, yeah. But usually what happens to us is the following. Is your annual income over $100,000 a year? They say usually no. I say, is it over 50? They usually say no. I say, is it over 20? They usually say no. And I say, is it over 10? They usually say no. And then I say, your rights aren't worth anything yet. You don't really have anything to argue with yet. So if you want to go ahead, and it's really important for you to get this kind of like information about what it is a label does from me, then you're probably not the right person, and I can no longer do that for you. I used to do that, and I used to talk to people for hours at a time and give them all the lowdown on the music industry, and it never helped me or the label as a whole, because people didn't respect the fact that I was giving them information. So now the process works is we check if we need you. So what is there to expect? And I can only talk from our own calls that we have. We check if the person wants to be a professional musician. We check if the person can perform their own music live. We check if the person can perform at least 10 of these songs live. We check if the person is okay with performing live and can do so. We check if the person can produce music by themselves without any help or without like buying stuff from others. So we make sure that we have a self-sufficient musician that can, number one, produce music, number two, perform this music on stage, online, etc. Number three is self-sufficient in all his things. And then number four, we check if they have realistic expectations. We confront them with some earnings numbers that are typical for the first, second, and third year. We kind of like tell them our plan for what it is and where we think they should go over the first 3 years. And then we usually very quickly see the people that have realistic expectations. And more often than not, the people that have realistic expectations are the people that either come from a music college, have already done music 10 to 20 years before, or are of some kind of educated / knowledgeable about the stuff. Most of the people that have extremely unrealistic ideas are people that are very new or really have no idea about anything. And those are the people that with like 7 followers in total will tell you that their music is just pure fucking gold. And their master rights are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know. And it's really difficult to talk to these people, and we generally never close with these people. So this is what to expect. Expect to be checked if you're new. If you're new, expect to be checked. That's the only thing the label wants. They want to find out if you're a complete idiot or not, or if you're willing to accept the contractual terms, if you are somebody that they would be interested in. It's not really so much about you. At the first point, it's like them finding out if they are actually interested. So be prepared to a lot of that. If a label is aggressively courting you and saying, yeah, come to us, we have great conditions, this, you will have that, then you should be suspicious. Because then something's usually in the bush. This only happens if you're a bigger artist, if you're an artist that already has a following, that already has certain numbers coming in, and they think that if they can put you in a contract, they're going to make money. So any label that is active in recruiting you, that is saying, yes, please come to us quickly, and that are like heavily advertising themselves, they believe they have something to gain from you. Whereas if the label says, look, man, I just got to check out even if I'm interested in you first, then they're usually saying, okay, we don't expect you to make any money anytime soon. So we're going to make sure that you're what we need. Of course, it could be that they're bluffing. Of course, they're bluffing many times. Especially the United States have a whole culture of bluffing. I cannot tell you how many business meetings I've had where U.S. business people were bluffing, and I would always call them. And the way that I would do that is what I said in the beginning. I would research the people that I talk to first. So whenever I have a business call with anybody, I research them, and I usually go straight for things like the annual report, etc. I look up how many followers they have, and when they talk a big game, then I say, you know, you are demanding a lot of stuff from us, but you're a tiny company with no followers. You absolutely have no reason to demand anything from us. Quite to the contrary, I'm now going to tell you what our terms are. You can either accept them, or I can wish you a very good day. And this is mostly other companies, because it seems to be like, I don't know. I think the American ductus is to like puff your chest, be like, I'm so big, I'm so important. It's super weird. For me as a European, it's super weird to like totally fake and pretend. Unicorn, or it's working again. Oh my God. Yeah, that bot thing, I touched nothing, Yo-Yo. I touched nothing. I found no bug. And I could never find anything that wouldn't work, and I didn't know why, and or anything like that. But now it's working. I'm really happy about that. So if somebody puffs their chest, you're welcome to take them a peg down, because quite honestly said, you don't want to work with people that are puffing their chest. Everybody who does chest puffing, I always take them a peg down. I take down music industry people. They're like, yeah, I used to be this and this A&R for Warner Music. And I said to them, you know what? I'm really new working in a tiny industry like music, and for a small company like Warner, and you know, A&R is the 4th level. So I'm used to just a lot bigger numbers and a lot bigger projects than that of a small company in the fourth level. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not used to this. And then people are like, what are you talking about? You know, because they're like, now they want to call my bluff. And I'm like, I'll give you an example. I used to work in the energy industry. And the energy industry of the state of Virginia is bigger than the entire global music market. So I'm going to repeat this. The energy industry of the state of Virginia in America, or Austria, if you're in Europe, is bigger than the entire global music market. The music market and the companies operating on it are, on an international scale, fucking tiny. They're making like $50 billion worldwide revenue. That is like fucking nothing. If you compare that to the energy industry, which is about I think the magnitude of like 10,000 times bigger than the music industry, and this is why, like, when people are like, "Yeah, I'm from this big music company," I'm like, dude, you barely qualify from where I come from. So, as an artist, also, somebody puffs their chest, don't be impressed. There's nothing to be impressed about. That does not mean that you have to be an asshole. Be friendly and upfront, be nice. But when people are doing like this, yeah, I'm so super fucking important, don't go with that. Okay, so prepare to be checked out. Prepare to be sales pitched. And when there's a sales pitch, be extremely fucking wary, because they want something from you. And don't accept chest puffing. Then one guy was asking, what does it mean when a label owner follows you? And I gave him the answer why I usually follow people. And I said they don't want to sign you at the moment, but they want to see your stuff in the future. They might be interested in to see what you do in a year. Then there is another topic that is always very, very important is most people, when they start negotiating with a label, will pull somebody from their family in. We call it the momager, mom manager. And family members are usually a negative asset. I have never once seen it to where a family member was a positive asset for an artist, because they're overly convinced of the artist's abilities. They're super eager to defend the artist because it's their boy, girl, whatnot. And they're super incompetent because they actually have no idea and they're entirely unqualified. So whenever I have these like mom is my manager and my friend is a manager, I usually ask them for their qualifications, and a lot of people are super pissed off about this. I would say things like, are you an entertainment lawyer? Have you been working in the industry? And then I usually tell them, look, you have to understand one thing. If you want to do a contractual negotiation here and you're entirely incompetent in the music industry, it's better for you if you take a lawyer or you employ somebody who actually knows what they're doing. Otherwise, you're actively ruining your chances of having a career here. And then moms are super pissed. I have to say that all of the moms that I've talked so far took extreme offense to what I said. And but I'm coming from experience here. I've never seen the family of an artist play a positive role. There's a question on Reddit. This guy says, a music label is taking advantage of my sibling. My sibling is 17, about to be 18, and I'm a little bit more older, and they're taking advantage of him, and I told them I'm his manager, and they're ignoring me. So there's usually a lot to unpack. Number one, if you're the mother, if you're the friend, if you're the sibling of somebody, and you say that you are their manager, that does not mean that you are their manager unless you have a written document in your hand that is either a power of attorney or a definitive contract or empowerment by the artist giving you certain rights to act on his behalf, receiving information, negotiating deals, etc. You are essentially nothing. And especially in the EU, the GDPR, the data protection guideline of the EU specifically forbids companies for giving out any personal information to third parties. And if you don't have a written contract with the artist that states that you are their manager, you're not. Stop pretending. And of course, if you're an underage person, usually we don't deal with underage persons. So whenever one of my friends brings me an artist that's underage and they're like, yeah, why don't you talk to this person? Then it's always the mother coming up, and I say, just a disclaimer, usually we don't work with underage children. And you're first going to have to convince us that you were worth the trouble, and that you as the legal guardian are actually competent on negotiating on behalf of your child. And a lot of people are upset about that too, but I'm not going to be part of a child exploitation scheme or anything like that. A lot of parents do very bad things with their children. I'm totally not interested in that. So if you're an artist, what's the advice I can give to you? Either read up on entertainment law yourself, which is possible. Have somebody that actually has expertise come with you. Hire an entertainment lawyer, and that's the end of it. Do not use your family members as fake managers. It does not make you appear successful. It does not look good. I have a manager. The manager is my girlfriend. The manager is my mother. Don't do that. It looks super unprofessional. Everybody knows you're just putting it out there, but don't. Don't come to a gunfight with a butter knife. That's exactly what it is. Because you as the artist have power because they're going to sign a contract with you. What you says matters. What your family member, who isn't even representing you, by the way, doesn't matter at all for that label. They're usually super annoyed. I had this case. One of my artists recently decided to call his girlfriend his manager, and then he started requesting us to talk to his manager. And I said, such and such, I am your manager. And he said, no, I decided my girlfriend is my manager. I said, no, I mean your legal manager. The contract that you signed says that I am the only and exclusive manager of you as an artist. You, as a private person, can declare anybody anything. You can declare your girlfriend to be the king of China. That's fine for me, but it doesn't hold any legal significance at all. So be aware of wrong advice. That wrong advice can come many times from your family, from your friends, who equally have no idea. Do go to an entertainment lawyer, give him the contract, and pay him $300 to look through it. That's all I can say. A real lawyer is going to find things. A real lawyer is going to tell you. And real lawyers have looked at our contracts and they have said this contract is pretty waterproof, but as far as industry goes, it's pretty standard / even good. And people, they had clients come to them say, oh, this is such a horrible contract. The problem is people don't know what makes a good contract because they don't know what differentiates a good from a bad contract. Okay, so don't necessarily talk about things that you don't know nothing about. Talk about the things that you can talk about. your artistry, your music, how you want to work with the label, how it's gonna be, what your team might look like, things like that. Meeting with a label for the first time, how should I approach it? Any do's and don'ts? Yeah, and I always say to them, I answered here, take your time, don't rush anything. Also do not tell them no too quickly. Keep your options open, and be ready to chat. The reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of people are surprised when a label approaches them. But mistakenly believe that they're going to be approached many more times anyway. This is not the case. You might not be approached another time in your life. And the second thing you have to check out when you're talking and answering that question is, what services is this label going to provide for you? So label services come from an extremely simple distribution deal to where they're essentially just sending your music to Spotify and Apple, to a deal where they're doing marketing for you. They're putting their money into advertising you. So label does not equal label, and contract does not equal contract. So the conditions that you're going to get from a label from one to the next, and the conditions that you as an artist are going to get in your contract, can be hugely different. And in order to know what a good condition is and what a bad condition is, you need to have somebody who can tell a good from a bad condition, and that's not your mother. It's also not your brother. It's somebody who's seen hundreds of these contracts already and who knows what the difference between a good and a bad contract is. And Vani says, I have a manager to myself. Yeah. Alrighty. Somebody's asking also interesting question. Can I tell if an artist is signed to a label? Usually you can't. There are some artists that specifically advertise themselves as being independent, but they actually signed to a major. But the NDA that the company and the artist sign usually gives them impunity to say that they're not going to talk about the contract because they can't talk about the contract anyway. So there's really no way for you to find out if they're signed or not. Of course, if they're releasing with a certain distributor, they might be associated with that label. So if they're on Symphonic or if they're on Orchid, they could be, but they also could not be. The only thing that will give it away is if there's a label imprint on their songs, like for us, Copyright Count Zero Records 2022, then it tells you that song was distributed by the label. It doesn't really tell you that they're signed and under which conditions that they're signed, because that is usually extremely secret. So there's actually, because this person was asking if there's some kind of database or register on which artist is signed to where, and the answer is no. And a lot of times that is actually what artists want, because I know quite a few artists that have contracts that they would not want anybody to know of. For various reasons. They might have spouses that they're hiding money from. They might pretend to be indie when they're actually pushed by a major label. What we call record label plants. They pretend to be a small artist and become successful, but they're really with like lots of money behind them. There's all kinds of reasons why people want to obfuscate the fact that they have a contract with somebody, and there is no database where you can find out who's signed to who and what the conditions are. There just isn't. These contracts are one-to-one contracts between the company and the artist, and only very specific people within the company can even see these contracts, and only the artists on the other side are allowed to see the contracts, and they're not even allowed to share these contracts with anybody else. I did have some of my artists send my contracts around, and I knocked on their door and said if they're aware what they were doing. And then they were scared, and I said, there's no need to be scared, but you know full well that you're not allowed to share these contracts. What's up with that, you know? But even then, you know, people have a hard time with getting help. Should you make music as an NFT? No. Should you put money in an NFT? No. How to respond to online scammers messaging your band? Don't. You just don't respond. You just don't respond. Yeah, hiring a promoter, hiring a booker, what do they want? Why am I not getting a promoter or a booker? Answer, because you're too small. The question was actually, what do they want? And I posted in there money. So you have to understand that your promoters and your bookers are going to be paid in percentage. So if you're paying your booker 20%, you're paying your promoter 20%, and you're making $5,000 a year, nobody's going to work for you. You know why? Because 20% of $5,000 is nothing that somebody would work a year for. So the reason why you're not getting a promoter, the reason why you're not getting a booker is always one and only one reason, and that's you're not making enough money. If you are a touring agent, if you are a touring artist and you make $300,000 a year, bookers will call you. Bookers will, managers will call you, promoters will call you and say, please, can I work for you? Because they know they're going to be making some dough. So in the beginning of your career, do not be overly obsessed with bookers, promoters, etc., because you will not be able to hire any of them that are worth their money. Even the indie bookers, which there are some, and they do work, do require hundreds of dollars of payment per month. You're not going to find a booker that works for you for under 400 and some percentage, or 800 without percentage. So you're going to have to pay these people quite a substantial amount of money. And if you don't have a lot of gigs, they're not going to make it happen for you. A lot of times the artists have this idea that there's somebody that they can pay to make it. But more often than not, there's actually nobody who will take your money, or at least not to the tune of what artists generally have available to manage or book them. Changing labels. Should I sell my beats? That's also... I'm meeting with a label. What should I do? I want a job in the music industry. That was also funny. I want a job in the music industry, but it should be something better, not a toilet scrubber or dishwasher. I want to have at least $35,000 a year, and I will be a restocker at Sweetwater. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. Number one, when you're working for Sweetwater, which is a company that sells studio and audio equipment, you're not in the music industry. You're in the retail industry. You're selling stuff. And number two, 99.9% of all the releasing artists in the world do not make $35,000 a year. So if you want to be in the music industry and you want to make $35,000 a year as your starting pay, and that is your floor, you're gonna have to have a university degree and work at a major label in a capacity that usually requires a master's degree, something like that. You could be like a bookkeeper for them, or you could be marketing junior project manager for marketing, this kind of stuff. But generally, this guy says he had no education on training. He was not a musician, and where can I make that? You can try to become a roadie, but funnily enough, musicians usually make less money than all the people that are working in the industry as something that's not necessarily requiring a musical qualification. Roadies, mix engineers, bookkeepers, internal tax consultants, lawyers, marketing execs, all these kinds of people that work in a label usually all make more money than 99% of the musicians on the planet. And they're not performing themselves. So if you want to work in the industry and you want to make decent money, you have to have an education. If you have no education, then of course there's some jobs for you, but you're not going to make great money. And I guess in that way, it's the same as everywhere else. It's really not different. And then if you're a performer, if you want to be an artist, then it's completely different again. Because then for a very long time, you're not going to make anything. But if you actually become successful, you can make a lot of money. But that is different also. On average, your best bet is actually to have a university degree, start working at a music company. And if you're looking at lifetime earnings, you will outperform 99.9% of all the artists. So in short, a university degree will outperform 99.9% of all artists in the world. So it depends what it is that you want for yourself, for your career, and as a human being. Is it something that you would, makes you happy, or? This is also a good question. I always get it. It's fucking hilarious. Question to a major label manager or major label employee. What are labels better at comparing to releasing music by myself? Boy, and this is really what speaks to the heart of the topic today, which is why do I need a label? Do I need a label? How much better is NASA or SpaceX? Let's say SpaceX because it's a private company. How much better is SpaceX in deploying satellites in orbit around the Earth than you are? Could you do it? Theoretically, I don't know. Probably. The point is that you're comparing a multi-billion-dollar industry with the capacities that you have yourself. Now, the only way you would do this, why you would do this, is because you yourself as a person are very unenlightened. If you cannot tell the difference between like Tesla Motors and you building a car yourself from scrap, I really don't know how to explain business to you. But in all honesty, why are they better? They have huge amounts of money compared to you. Even your typical indie label, like we do, has hundreds of multiples of the money that you have. People don't talk about it a lot. What is that? What is that? Oh, it's the cat. But all of the artists I've ever met were essentially without means. and compared to them, we're kings. So your typical label will, even if they're a very small operation, have a lot more money than you have. Number one. Number two, knowledge. They will have decades of knowledge of multiple people that you don't have, and it's going to take you decades to catch up with that knowledge. Number three is networking. They will have established over the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, however long they work, connections, meaningful personal connections with people in radio stations, with DJs, with people at various levels of government, of business, of various organizations around the world that can help you, that again will take you decades to catch up. So it is monetary resources, personal resources, knowledge resources, and network and informational resources that they outrank you on by decades. The reason why people generally believe that they don't need a label is because they think that what the music industry does is to distribute music. I get this so many times. Let me say this to you. Distributing music is about 1% of what a label does. It's by far the fastest, easiest, and completely automated stuff that you can do. Every label has like a software for it. You literally just enter the artist's name, the title name, put the MP3, put the cover, click a few times, click the... click the button, and the thing goes around the world. It's all automated, really, and you can hear him meowing. He always likes to jump around on the set when I'm here. So it's completely automated. That part has no human interaction other than entering data, and that's it. And this is what people believe labels do, distribute music. But this is actually only a very, very, very tiny thing of what labels do. By the way, if you want to know what labels do, you can check out our webpage. There's a page that is called What We Do. And if you're interested in our packages and prices, if you're an indie artist and you don't want to get signed to a label, you just want to buy our services, there's a page where there's packages and prices as well, which kind of like tells you what you can buy and how much it costs. Ringo the cat is. So the reason why people think they don't need a label is because they incorrectly assume that the tip of the iceberg that they see is the iceberg, but it's not. It's literally just that. What you see as a retail customer, what you see as a fan, what you see as an indie artist, it's just this. And this, by the way, is also a carefully crafted image of more or less carefully crafted image of what it is. So distribution is absolutely automated, and when people look behind the scenes of a label and the systems that they have, generally they're like, wow, you have all these systems and nobody knows about that. And that's because that is kind of like the business secret of a label. So for example, we have a somewhat self-built newsletter engine with about 40,000 contacts in there, and that's really part of our money, is the fact that we have all these addresses, that we have all these contacts, and we can send them your music. And fuck no, of course we're not going to give it away. So the fact that we have a very extensive database of people that we can deploy music to and say, hey, don't you want to play this on your show? Do you want to play this on your DJ set? Do you want to play this on your radio station, blah, blah, whatnot, and send the right music to the right people? That is, for example, that is actually what labels do. But this is usually nothing that artists do, and it's also nothing that they see, and so they are oblivious to its existence, is the best way I can think. So then the next question is always, if I don't know what they have that they do better than me, and they're not telling me, how am I ever to find out if I'm signing to the right label? And the only thing I can say here is pretty much you don't. That is incredibly weird, but no one will let you look under their hood for any reason, because quite frankly, it's just not worth it. So you can get a feeling for what the label can do for you after like a year or two that you have been with them. And you can see if it works with the numbers or not. But even then, they could be doing a great job and you're just not seeing the numbers because what you're doing is just not what's currently hot. Nothing has caught on fire. You were just not lucky. The right editor at the radio station didn't see your music. There's like a million things that go wrong. And then, of course, there's labels that do absolutely nothing for you. They distribute your music and pocket the rest. And this is also a reality. There's people that do nothing. So they will take 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% of your income, whatever it is, or they will take 200, 300 and do absolutely nothing. And this is the real, real problem and difficulty with working with a label, because it's very opaque what's going on. And in the music industry, it's usual that the contract says that what the label could do for you, but contracts always say that they're not obligated to. If you carefully read your music contract, your recording, your MRA, whatever it is, you will see that the label isn't obligated to do anything for you, at all. They don't have to spend any money. They don't have to do any advertisement. There's nothing they have to do for you, and that is with good reason, because otherwise they would be obligated to do a lot of stuff for you, and then you just make a bunch of shit music and all of their money is lost. So usually that is very difficult. Now there's a new model, and we have it. Maybe I can show it. Hey, why do I look like this? Musician at home says, box, what is that? Okay, I'll put this over there. Okay, and now let me see if I can capture it, and then we can talk about it maybe a little bit. So you get a little bit of a feeling for what it what it is and what it could be. There is transform, reset. Ooh, that's in front of my face. That's very much in front of my face. I want to put that here behind me. Okay, excellent. See, that's much better. That's mucho better. Mucho better. Logo loop, we will turn that off. I'll put that up here. And then I'll lock it, and here we go. Okay, so let me just scroll over here. That is maybe not the best way to do it. Okay, so we have a package here. I'm going to quickly show you that one. It should give you a little bit of an of a overview. Okay, it's all a little bit wonky, but you'll get it. So our basic package And this is a different model. This is where you get to keep all of your rights and you actually pay somebody to work for you. This is the second choice that you have. The first choice that you have with a recording contract is essentially that you give away part of your master rights in return for them not asking you to pay them. But then, of course, you can have a contract like this where you kind of like pay the bill. And then they will be working for you. You have it here. Keep 100% of your master rights. Keep 100% of your royalties. Keep 100% of your performance fees. Just everything that you make is yours. You get professional worldwide distribution to over 300 different stores. You have unlimited releases. As many singles, LPs, albums, music videos, books, art pieces, anything you want to release, professionally released. Digital high quality delivering for HD. We do that as one of the few labels. So we distribute actually WAV files, not MP3s. Our customers and our partners then actually MP3 it down. And because we do that, we have usually the highest audio quality. So we also do HD music distribution. Not everybody does that. Distribution including growth markets, India, China, and Africa. A lot of people don't do that at all. We have very strong distro there. Full metadata tagging, which means that the song will include all of the metadata and the distribution and the publishing database as well. Your music on airlines, in-flight entertainment. We also have business music contracts, which means that if you distribute with us, if you distribute with DistroKid, your stuff goes to Spotify, okay? If you distribute with us, your music automatically goes to business music users that use music for their stuff, for their supermarket, for their airplane, whatnot. They can play it. It doesn't mean that they will play it, but they can't play it, and this is also something people are generally not aware of. We are our own publishing house, worldwide high-quality publishing. Our publishing company is called Count Zero Media. It's a BMI-registered publisher, and that's included in there, which means you have full control over the shares of your songwriting stuff, and who gets it, and why not, and whatnot. And you can tell us any share, any split you want to do, no problem at all. Sync licensing. We have a contract with a sync company that will work for us and try to get sync licensing for you, Netflix and movies and stuff. We collect directly the fees from the PRO because we have our own publishing house. We will do the sub-licensing for commercial use if somebody wants to do a commercial, etc. We have online licensing for YouTube, Facebook, etc. We will do cover and remix licensing for you. We have your own music store, which means you'll be able to sell your music online directly, not from a store. Very good thing. People making good money on that, and we're selling a decent amount of music directly. Your own merchandise store, where you can have merchandise fulfilled within 3 days worldwide. We handle everything. Patronship and donation, so that people can donate to you. People can give you patronship to where they monthly pay to you, and a powerful e-commerce suite, which we developed ourselves, really good. And of course, e-commerce is subject to taxes, shipping, blah, blah, whatnot. And all of that you will get for about $180 a month. That is usually enough for most independent artists. That is far above what DistroKid or CD Baby or anybody does. It's far above what a Wall and any other label does. So if you really want to have a lot of service, then, for example, we are a good choice for you. If you want to have a label that has very little service for an extremely competitive price, then probably DistroKid is your better choice. CD Baby, actually. I would go with CD Baby. I was with them before I made my own label. And then, of course, we have different models that I'm going to, also show you. Just very briefly. I'm going to kind of like, going to slide them around here. We have here the professional, that's everything and gets signed, plus the first time your own manager. Professional in-person music industry manager. You'll be assigned a personal professional music industry manager who will do career planning, advancement, give you guidance, talk to you, prevent you from signing fucking dumbass contracts, give you advice on who to contact and contract, consult, and also our team will be available for you for consultation. We will do on your behalf networking and pitching, and we will use our contacts on your behalf and pitch your music to buyers, promoters, etc. And that's $420. That's the first time that you have somebody working for you that you are going to know by name. You're going to have probably the phone number of that person, and that person is going to work for you as a personal manager, trying to further your career. So it includes everything that the 180 package is. This one's $420. So it's about 200 more, and that all goes to that manager. So essentially what it is the 180 package is mostly label stuff, and then the 200 that are extra here will go to the manager that will represent you. And under that, there's just going to be 100% nobody who will even raise a finger for you, because $200 a month is like nowhere near the amount of hours you have to spend to actually build an artist. The next tier that we have is Star. That's already $840. That's already including everything in the professional musician, and that for the first time here includes booking services. So we will actually book you. We will not only look for a booking agent for you, but we will also book you ourselves. And that means that we're going to have to pay a booking agent, an in-house booking agent, and an external booking agent. We're going to try to get festival placements for you. We're going to try to get bigger performances for you, and we're going to do the touring and venue performance booking. And we have that included here in Europe at the very least. TV and radio appearances that we will arrange for you. So we will make sure that we bribe the right people so that you can actually go on TV and you can go on radio. And that is all done with that money. So with the extra 400, we're going to bribe some people. We're going to pay some money, and we're going to hire another person that works for you every month for about $200 to $300, and then like $100 for paying people off and stuff, things like that. So it goes into that. And then the last one, the last tier is $16.99 a month. That's including a worldwide professional marketing campaign managed by a person. New follower. How the fuck do I have a thing here now? Anyway, with 20 years of experience in marketing, which means you are going to have somebody who runs your campaign the whole year round. World-class promotion with dedicated industry professionals, social and digital campaigning, meaning we're going to take a lot more control of your socials and your digital campaigning, including viral content, influencer marketing, and we will pitch your music and promote you to over 60,000. That's the full range of promo, which we can do if we have that money to actually fund the campaign. To be clear, this amount of money, the $16.99, does not go to us entirely. It pays for your campaign as well. So this is usually around $1,200 to cover our cost, and then about $400 every month to put into your campaign. And the $400 that we put in your campaign is generally worth a lot more than if you would put $400 in your campaign. And this is essentially what you can do if you do not want a contract that has you selling your master rights. So for us, this is absolutely a possibility. For us, this is totally okay to do that. Woo! Bubblefish is now following. Thank you very much. And by the way, if you want to follow us or me, you can do that on either the Count Zero Records or the Record Label Boss channel on Twitch, and then you'll get updates about it. So this is approximately the price. I have to say that we are one of the very, very few labels that will give you access to our services and our prices. I dare you to find anybody else who puts their services and prices out front in a public matter. What you usually will say is buttons like call us, meet us, arrange a call, talk to sales, blah blah blah, whatnot, and then they're gonna try to feel you out and sell you as high as possible. We have seen people that are paying up to $6,000 a month for a package that we charge $180 for, $180. So they're paying 30 to 40. There's just no way, but we're not going to do that. So if you're interested in these packages and prices, you can go on our Discord server and send me a message, and I'll send you a link to this page. This page is public, but we don't advertise it because we want it to be mostly for musicians. But it's not secret either. You just come on our Discord server, and I'll send it to you in a link. Not a problem at all. And these are essentially the options that you have. So you have the option to either spend anywhere from $200 to $2,000 generally with an indie label. I mean, you can always spend more, but that would then be campaigning. It would be extra, blah, blah. But your typical musical artist, you'd spend anywhere from $200 to $2,000 to buy the services that you want, or you're going to have to pawn your master rights. This is essentially the two choices that you have. And you should be aware of these choices. So when a label approaches you and they give you a master rights contract that you're not happy with, that they're going to take charge of your master rights, you can ask them for payment. You can say, I want to pay my way. But depending on what label it is, it's going to be expensive. And there is the second problem, or one of the biggest problems of artists generally. And that is that they do not have any money, and they usually do not want to pay anybody for any service. So if you don't have any money and you don't want to pay anybody, then the master rights contract is still your only option. And as master rights are continuously becoming less and less valuable because streaming and royalty income just isn't really doing anything, expect master rights contracts to become less common, harsher, with more difficult terms, and much more selective than before. So the things that people have bitched about before are going to become even rarer. And expect the default for most labels to be a number that they will give you that you will have to pay in order to get their services. So this is how the music industry is changing for most artists. Things are going to turn around, and instead of the label taking any percentage or anything like that, you're now going to have to pay them. And this is in the United States, pretty much every indie label is now doing that. I would say that the amount of good indies that are doing that would be around 80%. In Europe, they're just starting out with it now, but I forecast that in 2 to 3 years, you will not be able to get a master rights contract unless you make a good chunk of money every year already. So if you're a new artist, you're going to have to pay, which means that you're going to have a job, and you're going to have to pay these people. And it's going to be a significant fee every month. And most people will just do your CD Baby and DistroKid route, and then try to get their stuff out as good as possible and they will have a significant disadvantage over the ones that will be able to afford professional services. But this is the same that's going on everywhere. So music is becoming more than ever a rich kid's game. It's really weird. And I think that the second counter movement after the movement towards you having to pay for everything is going to be the movement to where people are pawning themselves into even more aggressive recording contracts than now. I think now there's going to be a move away from MRA and master rights recording contracts to straight up paid contracts, and then people are going to find out, what the fuck? I got this contract, I'm paying $400 a month, that's like, $5,000 a year, and I'm making 20. So I'm in the hole for like $5,000 every year that I'm on a label. I should have taken that master rights contract 3 years ago. Then I would get everything for free. And the other day, we had the first prospect who said that she was happy that she was offered a master rights contract. Because we still do offer them, but it's invitational only now. It used to be our standard, but it's invitational only now. If we are slightly not convinced of your ability and your dedication, the only offer you're going to get from us is to purchase our services. The master rights contract that we have, the 50-50 contract, is something that we're only inviting people to anymore from now on. Because with this contract, we're taking on significant risks ourselves anyway, also, And there you go. The question is, why do I need a record label? I hope I showed it to you a little bit by the content of our package. And that is, by the way, not everything. That is just, I would say, broken down on artist level. There's actually a lot more things that go into these generic talking points. So when we say worldwide, world-class publishing, that's like a whole story on its own. It's a whole separate company with like a whole different type of doing business and a whole... it's just one point on the package list, but it's really... It's like its own house. And then usually when people do see that, they do understand that, but they still can't afford it. So I think that even in the future, artists are going to be in a situation to where they cannot afford professional services. Shit, people can't even afford an entertainment lawyer. I have been waiting for the time when I get to talk to a lawyer for the first time. I opened this label in 2018. And it's 4 years old now. It's fucking crazy to me that it's already 4 years. But, wow, we're gonna have 5 years next year, and we're gonna do a party. But still, so 4 years, and not a single lawyer ever, for no reason, in no negotiation ever. I have been told so many times, I can't even count, that the lawyer will come, the lawyer will talk, the lawyer will do this or do that. But not even once have I talked to a lawyer on the other side. I've talked to a lawyer once because he was part of a group. And he was like, yeah, because I'm a lawyer. He was like a 420 dude, if you know what I mean. Because I know, I'm like... Yeah, I've been doing contracts for 30 years, so what do you want from me? And it became very evident that the dude, number one, was pretty stoned, and number two, had no idea of music law. And music and entertainment, IP law, etc., is really kind of like its own thing. And if you're not knowledgeable in it, and you're just a general lawyer that usually does divorces and settles private cases... You're very ill-equipped to negotiate with somebody who has been running a label for quite a while, and before that was a manager for 20 years. So I don't know. 4 years, not a single lawyer. I'm still not counting that lawyer from the band because he was audibly intoxicated and just saying some random stuff. Not really making any kind of sense. And the talk also ended. I said, "Okay, you talk to me. What do you want from me?" And he was like, "Yeah, the guys just said I need to talk to you, so I talked to you." I'm like, "Okay, you did talk to me. Nice talk. See you later." He's like, "See you later, man." Later, I talked to him with him again, and I said, "What did you talk about?" He said, "I told them that you're a pretty chill dude." I said, "Okay, all right." So the one lawyer that I talked to was not an entertainment lawyer, and we did not talk about anything contract specific. So in 4 years, I've never had anybody come with a lawyer. I had people come, and if this was only once, and they pretended to be a lawyer. That was extremely fun, because I take it for as it is, and they're like, yeah, I'm just a lawyer, blah blah whatnot, and I'm like, yeah, super. Can you send me your business card or something, or your contact data so we can set up a call? And so I get this business card, which is really just an email, which goes to a different company. Oh my God. So there's a person that was working at a dry cleaning office. And I said, "You gave me the address of a dry cleaning office." I mean, like the email address. They're like, "Yeah, I work there." I'm like, "I thought you were an entertainment lawyer." "No, I'm an entertainment counselor and I work at a dry cleaning office." I'm like, so let me get this straight, just so I know. You are a lawyer, an economist. What are you? And she's like, I'm an entertainment advisor. And I said, "But you work at a dry cleaner and you don't have a business card and you don't have another email address." Nope, she didn't. So I found out that 3 days before that, she had decided to become an entertainment advisor, and her qualifications were absolutely fuck nothing. So after we had settled the fact that she's not an entertainment lawyer, I said, "You know what? If you want to talk with me on behalf of the artist, I'm going to have to see some papers." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I said to them, "I'm going to have power of attorney, or I'm not going to talk with you." And they're like, "Yeah, we're going to send it to you." They never send it. So, yeah. I think, so in 4 years, I had one person who pretended to be a lawyer, one person who was a lawyer, but obviously was more concerned about the growth of weed. And everybody, and none of them ever talked to me about the subject matter. And this is very, very interesting to me. And it just goes to show how little money artists generally have. And I think it's a money issue. I think most artists are completely dead broke because music doesn't really afford them any way to pay for themselves. And they don't want to spend any money on anything. So they're kind of like left doing everything by themselves. So instead of having fun and playing music, they're in this crazy grind that we're all in, of doing social media, trying to understand contracts, trying to get on radio, TV, trying to get their music out there, running 4 different channels, talking to fans, trying to get their music played, and all at the same time while they're trying to make music and trying to perform and have another job that actually pays all their bills. So, wow, I don't know. That's a crazy hustle that you have to do. And this is why so many people fail, because there's just not enough time. And there's this guy on TikTok that says, self-made musicians are a toxic myth. I forgot what he's called. Shut up. And his talking point, and this is actually very... very meow, okay, very true, is that rich people just have the ability to spend a lot of time on their artistic careers because they can afford to not work, number one, which gives them a lot more time. They usually have a little bit of money for their parents where they can hire lawyers and other people. So they actually are the ones that would buy these packages from us. It's typical rich kid stuff, really. Buy the packages from us, get nice service, sit at home in the apartment your parents bought, and make music. And then they become famous. And a lot of the people that are now in Billboard are like that. They were born wealthy, and this is why they made it in the industry. It's kind of sad, really. Kind of weird. All right. I'm going to drink a little bit of water. And then I'm going to answer uncomfortable truths here is, again, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. No one rules alone. If you want to become the best in any field, you need people you can rely on. Yeah, that's how it has to be, I guess. But yeah, I want to come back to that. When artists say, oh my God, I'm going to have a label. It's the same for us. I'm not having this label by myself. I have a whole bunch of people who work in, with, and around the label, who support it, who do shit. I need connections. I need business partners. I need software. I need friends. I need investors. Just like you as the artist, I as the label person rely on other people too. And they don't do anything for me for free. Some of them do, and I'm very happy with that. But most services that we consume as a label, we have to pay. And we have to pay up front. Our distributor, our publishing, all of our software services, anything that we do, it's all paid up front. And the only way that you can do this is if you have the means and the time to do it. And that's usually what you have when you have some guy who worked for a lifetime somewhere else and then says, okay, I'm now going to make an independent label. And those are the only people that survive. There was a question again in the forum. I want to start our own record label. What do I need? $300,000. You have to be financed for 5 years on top of that, and you should have 10 to 20 years of business experience. You could do it without, but you're more likely than not going to die. The rate of success in record labels is very, very low. Most don't make it, and a lot of them kind of like convert and become like studio services providers. And what I mean with that is that they become people who professionally produce, mix and master young bands, and they become kind of like studio operators. Because in their business as a label, they meet a lot of musicians, which they then kind of like convince to buy studio services from them. But that means that they're using their own time, and at that point they cannot grow as a label anymore, because you can only do that to 2 or 3 people or 4 people until you're completely jammed up with your studio and your time. So I know quite a few labels to where the label also produces, records, and does everything for the artists, and they're like a 100% service provider for like 4 or 5 artists or groups. And these artists or groups pay them usually around $10,000 a year, and so they have about 5 of them. And they make about $50,000 a year. From that, they can live. And for that money, they produce, edit, cut, mix, master, publish, distribute those 5 guys. But the problem is you're then super attached to 5 people and unable to grow, because that doesn't scale in any conceivable way. So the people that stay, being able to be on the label side, being able to sign people and things like that, are people that actually only do the label business. And this is what a lot of people don't understand when they come to us. They're like, yeah, you're going to record for me. And they're like, nope. We are actually a label that does the label business. If you need a studio, you can rent our studio. Or if you want, you can have our project studio for free because you're signed. But we're generally not a company, a production company. We work with production companies, and I used to be a producer, but you cannot do both, quite literally, because you don't have enough time. Label business is a different business model. It starts after the music has been produced. When people go back to producing music, to making music, to operating a studio, that's when they usually stop being relevant as a label, because the only way you can only service so many people yourself. You can, if you're making 5 albums every year yourself, 50 songs in your studio, on your computer, produced for 5 different groups, you're not doing anything else. That's a song a week, including recording, mixing, and mastering, and you're shitting that out all the time. And these people are usually not very happy because they're fucking grinding all the time, just making songs for bands and working with them, etc. And I decided quite a while ago that I didn't want to have this producer label model. So if you eliminate the producer labels, and if you eliminate the ones that are not going to make it, you're going to be left with a single-digit percentage number of all labels that survive. Because various reasons. Because they have the funding, because they do something else, they have a successful artist. For various reasons, but starting a label is probably harder than being an artist, and harder to be successful. If I had invested all of the resources into me as an artist, I probably would have a lot more income right now. And I would be more famous, and my music would be a lot better. And generally, I as a person would be much better off. But I have to say that what really interested me was having a label, was doing the background work, was that kind of the business that is still very interesting to me. Rather than the simplicity. I was, by the way, offered a recording contract like multiple times. People just listened to my music and they said, yeah, sure. But these were horrible contracts. 30% for distribution was I usually offered. Because I was just fucking writing them. And now I know that my very simple attempts are actually more than people do. People are afraid. So when I was just an artist, 2016, I would say. I know it because 2016, there was this one label. I'm not going to say who it is. But around 16, 14, whatnot, I still had a different name. I was like, how the fuck am I going to get a recording contract? I'm just going to send everybody an email. So I made a Google Drive with my music on it. And I sent an email to everybody. Hey, it's me. I do this. Here's a picture. Here's the music. Check it out if you like it. If they didn't answer, I sent another email. Hey, 14 days later. Hey, it's me still. Blah, blah, whatnot. And I immediately had multiple offers. And I thought that was normal. And what I'm finding out now is that it's abnormal, because artists usually don't do that anymore. They're so extremely social media obsessed that they're fucking spamming Instagram and everything, but they're not networking. I have no words for this. People are like burning the rubber on their tires, doing covers, Instagram posts, YouTube videos, dancing on TikTok, posting on Reddit, you name it, whatever it is. But the one thing that they do not do is just simply get in contact with the people that could professionally help them. Just fucking call them. Fucking call Sony. Call everybody else. It's open. That's what I did. I fucking called people and I sent them email, and when they didn't answer, I sent it again. And then I sent an email, hey, have you listened to my song yet? I know you have a lot to do, but please listen to it. It would be so cool. I can tell you, out of the 30,000 people that send us stuff every year, less than 10 are targeted. Less than 10. And this is why I was always successful with my targeted stuff. Because nobody does targeted stuff because they believe it's too much work and they don't want to talk with a real person. They're kind of like scared or something. Find out who the person is, like the name. Find out the phone number, find out their email address, fucking chase them down, and then send them an email and say, hey, Jack, I got the information that you're A&R for such and such label for such and such genre. If you're not, I'm sorry. Maybe you want to forward it to the guy that actually is. But if you are responsible, I'm such and such. I do this kind of music. If you want to click here, this is this and this kind of music, blah, 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 whatnot. You won't regret it. And if you tell me no, I won't bother you anymore. Have a great day. You will be astounded how many answers you get. You know why? Secret. Because websites like SubmitHub don't actually connect you with labels. It's like going on Pornhub and thinking you're going to find somebody to marry. It's the wrong place you're looking for. If you want to meaningful connect with a company, then either personally network with them or go to a place where you can meet them. If there's some kind of mess, some kind of demonstration, some kind of, event where they are ready to receive people, not just chase them and be super annoying, don't do that. But engage in meaningful personal interaction. The easiest way you can get signed to our label is to go on our Discord server and to keep sending me messages. Eventually, you'll have bothered me to the point to where I'm going to sign you, so just shut up. You're going to have to do what I tell you before if your music sucks, but everybody can get through that. Absolutely everybody can get through that. The only thing that it takes is to go on our Discord, improve your music game, and be annoying enough, and you'll have a great contract with a great company. But a lot of artists don't want that. They don't want to engage with people. They don't want to talk with people. They don't want to self-advertise. They don't want to network. They don't want to call. They don't want to email. They don't want to do any of that. They want to go on some website where they can fill out a profile, and then people will come and throw shit at them. This is the idea. Pay a lot of money to SubmitHub or some other submission site, and people, and you'll be famous. Not happening. And number 2, and this is probably the last bigger topic I'm picking up for today, plays are irrelevant. I recently heard an interview with Deadmau5, and I know Muty knows it, and a bunch of other people know it. And he said the number one way to become something in the music industry is networking. And it still is, and it's still true. All the things that people are doing, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, Spotify, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, whatnot, They're all by far secondary to networking. If you can connect with one big artist that will push you, with one record label exec that will give you a chance, you will have made progress that other people will not make in years posting their own shit on social media. People are saying, you know, my number one thing that I want to do is I want to get on playlists, and then I want to rack up plays on Spotify. I have never seen an artist that had any meaningful change in his career by having a song on Spotify go to 1 million. That's only like, number one, it's only like $2,000 in payment. And number two, absolutely nothing happens. Because there's so many songs that go to 1 million that it doesn't really matter. What matters is walking into a room and there's like 5 people from labels or anybody in there, some guy from Netflix, somebody from an ad agency, and talking with them and having a good connection, them listening to your music and then actually liking it and saying, yeah, sure, good thing, let's get going. Happens often enough for me, and people are surprised. They're like, it's that easy? That was it? What do you want me to say? You're a good guy, you make good music, let's do it. What do you want, the angels to come from the sky and blow the horns? I don't know. But this personal connection has been lost. Please don't tell me I've been too annoying. I'm Ronnie Campbell on the Discord server, by the way. Yeah, Ronnie, the vocalist Ronnie, right? I've been talking to you, I think. Yep. Nah, you were not too annoying. I enjoy talking with people. It's normal to me. Uncomfortable says, I think people have a bad perception of label contracts. In my experience, people tend to be concerned that label contracts will fuck them over if they become successful, which for most people is the whole reason for signing with a record label. Hey, René! Famous musician here, René Luengo. He's got the millions of plays, but he's still working really hard. Hold on, let me go back to that. Yeah, uncomfortable. It's absolutely true that a lot of people have been screwed by record labels, and that a lot of people signed horrible contracts, and a lot of people got screwed. What can I say? But I have to say one more thing to that. I want to say what John Cena said when they asked him about his WWE contract. Hey, Dominic is also here. Dominic Fritz. We got important people from the Austrian EDM scene today with us. Maybe they're gonna come to Croatia. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be interesting. But I want to say, what was I gonna say? The John Cena thing. So every time somebody uses John Cena's name or many of the things, WWE gets 20 or 30%, lifelong. And they were saying, are you not upset about that? And he said, absolutely not. The Rock, by the way, said the same thing. Absolutely not, because these people made me famous, and these people made me who I am today. The reason why I'm making $500,000 a year is because of them, and they're getting out of these $500,000 $100 for the rest of my life, yes, but without them, I would be nothing. And 100% of nothing is nothing. And this is what I tell people about their recording contract. Taylor fucking Swift. If you look at what Scooter Braun did for Taylor Swift to make her famous, worked for her for years, did all this crazy shit to make her famous, and then she's all about crying into her bosom about her master rights that she wants to have back, which she willingly signed over to him, and she was willing to do even more to become famous, and only after the people are famous do they start complaining about their contracts. This is number one. Number two is people that legit were scammed by a label or a fake label. There are many black sheep in the industry, and there's no excuse for them. Absolutely none. There's people that will do nothing for you and take a lot of money for it, and that's horrible, and that's bad, and that's wrong, and that's all I'm going to say. There is nothing to justify that, and it does happen every day. So it's a double-edged sword. It's a dual thing. So yeah, what can I say? What can I say about that? I think that the two guys who just came in here, René Luengo and Dominic Fritz, are a good example of artists. They're hustling a lot. They're working a lot, doing various things to promote themselves. They've had decent success with their stuff, but it's tough work. It's a lot of work. It's tough work. It's not easy. And you're working on this shit for years and years, and you're making progress one by one, little by little. And even if you have great talent, like a lot of guys have on the label and our guest artists and featurings as well, it doesn't really happen to you easy. And even with all my means that I now have, been running this fucking label for 4 years, sometimes something happens and it's so great, and then sometimes nothing happens, and you're wondering to yourself, have I just dropped this song into the fucking abyss? Why is nobody reacting on it? I had campaigns that blew up or that went really well, and I had like 25 radio stations message me about CIG's Moment. And that song was picked up widely on radio through our email campaign. And that was great. And then you send out a song and you do an email campaign for another song and you get like 0 returns. And you're thinking to yourself, what the fuck is going on, you know? It's not a bad song. It's a good song, but people are just not interested in it for any reason. And I recently talked to René Luengo, and he said he's only doing... What was it, Brazilian bass now? Because people have so specific tastes nowadays, what they want and what they don't want. And if you're not doing what the masses want, then it can be a problem. So there's always the question: should you artistically change in order to be successful? And so many people have started to make Volksmusik or Schlager or something like that in order to become successful, and it's crazy. But yeah, so for us next year, CC23, we have an annual get-together we call Camp Zero. It's not with camping, but it's like CZ, So Camp Zero we do every year. This year is CC22. And CC22 is going to be the first 2 weeks of August. We're going to be in Croatia, near Zadar. So if you're near Zadar in Croatia, let us know, and we'll meet you. There's going to be people from all around the world, managers, artists, and various other people. They're going to be hanging out for 2 weeks together. It's going to be great. And next year, CC23, we're going to celebrate 5 years Count Zero Records. And we're hopefully going to do a little bit larger, because this year we make it a little bit smaller because of COVID and everything, But we're hoping that for CC23, 5 years Count Zero, we will be able to bring in even more people. So this year we have about 16 people coming, I think, or even more. Don't know. Something like that. Yeah, because people are bringing families. That's why. Because it was more than that. But next year's we're gonna open the event to artists in general, label artists, and we're gonna hope that more people will come. And next year for CC23, I want to explore the possibility of connecting that with a concert or with a little tour or something. That would be great. That maybe I can get together with a promoter and we can make CZ23 together with like a 1 or 2 day concert festival thing, you know. Just go somewhere and play there for free where there's lots of people. Something like that. We'll see. Uncomfortable truths. Do record labels go to radio advertisers directly to get leverage when trying to get things on the radio? Maybe that would be too much of a pain. No, we do. The radio station tells you how much you have to pay for every time they play your song. There's 2 ways to do it. Either they tell you a price for every play, or you just send them the material and hope that they take it. That's pretty much how it works. You can always be played when you pay, or you can be played when you propose your stuff. Of course, that paying for the play is in some countries illegal. But I haven't seen a country where that is not how it's done. In countries where the legality of that is in question, it usually works through different means of like donating something to some kind of fund or buying some stupid service from them that nobody needs. But generally, you can either pay your way into radio, which is what most people do, or you can just hope that you can network. That's the right way. You can network yourself in. So, for example, in Croatia, we have, and now I have to make sure I'm not implicating anybody. We have a person who is well connected in the media world, who has personal connections to a lot of people that decide what goes on air. And if we want something on air, radio or TV or whatnot, we would approach this person and order a PR campaign. They would receive a certain amount of money, and what they would then do with that money would be up to them. We would have nothing to do with it. And in return, a TV station or a radio station would then all of a sudden either ask for an interview on national TV or start playing the song of a certain artist. And that's how it goes. And it's the same everywhere. People lie to you. They tell you it's not so. It's 100% like that. It's generally all about the money. But you can get really good deals. I think that the TV interviews especially are a good deal. Stories in print. We had some nice stories. And didn't pay much for those either. But this is like label money category. It's not artist money category. The problem is that artists expect all of this to be like, I was gonna pay $10. You is gonna fuck off with $10. Nobody in the world is gonna do anything for you for $10. Not even in like. Maybe somewhere in Africa, a radio station will play your song for $10. I don't know. But I can tell you in Europe and in America, nobody's going to play your song for $10. And if you want to get on national TV with a like 5 to 10 minute interview where you sing your fucking song, yeah. If you get that for a few hundred, you're super fucking lucky. And you can be like friends with them forever, which you totally should, by the way. Because a lot of reporters are always looking for a story. And if your artist has a story that people could relate to and it's interesting for them, they're much more likely to pick it up, and they're usually charging less. They're not charging, nobody's paying them, of course. So, yeah. And why do they only do that with labels? Quite frankly, why do you only do illegal business with people that you trust? Very simple. You don't want to get caught. The reason why these options are not open for artists is because absolutely every radio station, TV station, etc. will tell any artist, this is not how it works. You cannot pay us for coverage. This is not how it works. You have to have a certain degree of trust with them, or know the person that has that certain degree of trust. It's even better. That does these things with and for them, and there has to be plausible deniability. So they want to know that they're doing it for a label who understands the rules of the game. They know they're not going to sue. They're not going to do anything stupid. They're a professional company. There's going to be money coming more than once. So that's good. You do it through an intermediary. There's going to be some kind of PR in the middle. So you're going to give it to the PR guy. The PR guy is going to make a PR campaign, and he's going to meet the journalist in a coffee house, and he's going to give the journalist money in cash while they're having coffee. And unless somebody's there to record that with a camera, there's nothing that connects the journalist or the person at the station with the label. And I asked PR people and said, what if somebody finds out that you gave them money? Then the PR guy said, I'm friends with them. I know them. I'm friends with them. They're my friend. They needed money. I gave them money because they're my friend. End of story. And it's very difficult to prove that PR guy did something illegal then, because it's all indirect in that. So yes, so this is how I'm going to close for today, for Music Industry Wednesday. Why should I have a recording contract? I hope I brought a little bit of light into the topic. I hope you found some value in this. If you did, I invite you to join our Discord server. That's countzerorecords.com/Discord. And chat with us, participate in our community. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them on the Discord server. I'll be coming back. You're welcome, Babel. I'll be coming back on Monday with another topic. If you want to propose a topic for a show, I'm very happy if you send me a message on Reddit or put it in our subreddit, or best come to the Discord server and talk to me about the show and put in there, hey, I think this and this topic would be great for the show. And if you know an interesting guest that has the ability to come in and talk with me, or if there's anybody you think that I should interview, you're also welcome to let me know about that. So if you want to make the show about something that you like, you're more than welcome to do that as well. Tomorrow it's going to be Max Beauty on Thursday. Yes, 1800. Last stream was pretty good. She had like 10,000 viewers or so. Was nice, very nice. So we're going to be seeing that. After that, it's going to be a little bit of a weekend for us. And then I'm going to be back on Monday with the next Music Industry Monday. Until then, I'll be in the Discord. I'll be working. And I'll see you next Monday. If you have anything to propose, join us on the Discord server. And I'll see you next Monday on Music Industry Monday with your boy Avio from Count Zero Records. I love you all.